Welcome back, YouTube. I'm AJPunk 15, and today we're going to talk about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. There are 10 films in the Halloween series, and I'm down to 3 films, and let's get started. Let's talk about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. After the events of Halloween 2 in 1981, Tommy Lee Wallace decided to take Halloween in a different direction. He wanted to give us a series of films like Tales of the Crypt or Twilight Zone, where each film every year is going to be a different film, and all set it around the Halloween time and theme. But unfortunately, when Halloween 3 first came out, it wasn't well received at all. A lot of fans hated it and wanted more Michael Myers and more elements of the original 2 Halloween films. So it was basically shunned for a lot of years until later it developed a big fan base and a cult following for the film, and everyone now today who watches the film has a better appreciation for what it tried to do. Halloween 3 was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. He was makeup and production designer, and he even played Michael Myers at one point in the previous 2 films, so this one he took his hand at directing, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed his style of filmmaking in this film. We have 2 big leads played by Tom Atkins, who plays Daniel Chalice, Stacey Nelkin, who plays Ellen Grimbridge, and Dan O'Herlihy, I'm pretty sure I probably butchered that name, who plays Colonel Cochran. The film centers around a fictional town in California called Santa Mira, where a local Irishman, Colonel Cochran, recently bought a World War II facility and turned it into a mask-making company who now distribute masks under the name of Silver Shamrock Novelties. This year, their big thing is they have a giveaway on TV during the TV presentation of John Carpenter's Halloween, where if you're wearing one of the 3 masks that you can purchase, which are a pumpkin, a witch, and or a skeleton, if you sit in front of the TV and you watch the Magic Pumpkin, there is a giveaway where you have a chance to win. No one knows what the prize is, but they're just saying do this, basically, because it's TV, it's commercials, you're supposed to listen to it. Product placement. Starting the events in this film, we have a very iconic opening similar to the first 2 Halloween films, where it's almost an electronic version of a pumpkin on the screen and a lot of pixels and stuff. It's kind of dated, but it's still very iconic for this movie, and I really enjoyed when I hear the music playing by returning John Carpenter down Horth. The film opens up with a man running. He's holding on to one of the Silver Shamrock masks. We don't know what's on the go yet, and he's hiding from these people in a car, very Men in Black-esque type people. He eventually ends up killing 1 or 2 of them and escaping, getting to a gas station where the gas station employee or manager brings him to the hospital. On arriving at the hospital, we meet Tom Atkins' character, Daniel Chalice, who is the attending doctor or physician at the time. Some of the Men in Black show up and kill the man at the start of the film, which leads Daniel Chalice into this big mission to find out exactly where the mask came from, why was this man killed, and who was this mysterious figure that caught himself on fire after killing the man and escaping the hospital. Daniel Chalice is actually a pretty cool character. He's very well fleshed out. In fact, in the first 15 minutes of the film, we know that he's divorced from his wife. He's a very hands-on type ladies man who kind of wants any woman he wants, and he's also an alcoholic who doesn't really pay attention to his kids as much. After the events of the explosion and the killing at the hospital, he decides to go to a local bar, drink a few beer, and he meets Stacey Nelkin's character, Ellen Grimbridge, and we find out that that was her father that died in the hospital, and the 2 of them go to Santa Mira, the fictional town, to find out more about the mask and meet Colonel Cochran. I'm not going to go too much more into the story of this film because it's a very classic film in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, then I don't want to spoil too much about it, but it's very unique and very stylish in the way that it's shot. Once again, it is an 80s film. It came out in 1982, so the gore and effects have to be amped up a little bit. You know, we have Friday the 13th, and we have other films in that kind of genre, so this film has to be no different. It has to keep up with the times and the pace of the gore and effects in the film, and honestly, the effects and gore in this film are top-notch for the time period. Some of it is a little bit dated with the more CGI elements, but the gore itself works very well. Dan, who plays Colonel Cochran in the film, he's very, very creepy and crazy. He's very iconic. When you see him in the movie, you know exactly who he is, and right away you're like, oh, that's the bad guy of the film. No matter what, he's probably going to be the bad guy, and sure enough, he is. His basic plan for this film is to take every mask that he sold with the Silver Shamrock's logo on the back of it, put a computer chip or some kind of chip in it revolving around Stonehenge, and somehow use the power of the Stonehenge, which is some kind of magic or mystical energy, and use those with the commercial for the Silver Shamrock mask with the giveaway to kill like every kid in the world. And it's up to Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelkin's characters to stop him. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch has some great pace to the film. It's a little bit slow burn at the start, but it develops and develops, and it gives you these little moments here and there of the Men in Black or some kind of effect with the mask, and it leads up to a great ending involving Stonehenge, Colonel Cochran, Tom Atkins, and a telephone, which is very memorable. I recently did a parody of the ending of this film on my YouTube channel with another great YouTuber, JT Is Reborn. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description for it. The music of this film from John Carpenter and Alan Horwath is amazing. It's very, very creepy. It still kind of has that little bit of a Halloween synth score, but it works so well for this film, especially with the technology that they were using inside the film, and especially the opening credits. The score in this film works absolutely wonderful. Tone and the setting around the Halloween time is beautiful. I love how they show different shots of the world, and each kid Halloween night is wearing that Silver Shamrock's iconic mask of the pumpkin, the witch, or the skeleton. It just gives you that little warm, fuzzy feeling inside when you were a kid walking around with your friends trick-or-treating. It's a very great scene in the film where they just take a whole bunch of different places in America and the world and just pretty much show shots of kids just doing what they do and trick-or-treating on Halloween. It's very cool. The story, while it may not be fleshed out as much as I'd hope, some of the characters are a little underdeveloped, but the majority of it is based around Tom Atkins' character Dan Chalice, and he's definitely the most fleshed out in this whole film. And I really enjoy his performance, and Dan O'Harely's. He's great as Colonel Cochran. Stacey Nelkin was a little bit on the offside, and the same could be said for a lot of the B-rated actors of the film. There's a very great scene where a family shows up at the Silver Shamrock's factory and they get a tour because they're the highest sellers of the mask, and they're treated to a test room of a new commercial, which we later find out is the commercial they're going to use on Halloween night. And it's some very cool imagery in that scene of the little kid on the floor. There's bugs and creepy crawlies coming out of his mask, and I thought it was great. I think this movie gets a lot of flack because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it, but honestly, if you sit back and take it for what it is and just enjoy the ride of a Halloween film, or a Halloween themed film I should say, it's a very fun movie. It's kind of a slow burn for the most part, but it's very enjoyable. The payoff is really cool, and I love that open ending with Dan Chalice, Tom Atkins' character on the telephone. I'm going to give Halloween 3 Season of the Witch a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a perfect film. It's not an amazing film. It is a fun film with some great action and gore. It has some cool scare scenes in this film as well, and it's very 80s John Carpenter, Tommy Lee Wallace kind of vibe going. I'm sure Carpenter had a lot of influence on Tommy Lee Wallace, seeing that they worked together on so many films in the past. For the mask and the music alone, this film is definitely worth a watch. I really enjoy it, and I definitely love watching it around this time of the year. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed my review. 2 more reviews to go, just 2 more reviews. Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 I'll have up tomorrow, and I cannot wait to get those. I've been meaning to do Halloween 1 and 2 now for years. Just haven't gotten around to doing it, but what better time to do it than on Halloween Day. Anyway guys, take care, stay frosty, and hey, look at this. Right now it's actually October 31st, so happy Halloween.